prisoners swimming towards our boat right now. See, in this story, two men made it out of the cell block and into the water. One inmate was captured and taken back to his cell. He lived to tell the story of his attempt. His partner in the escape wasn't so lucky.
I can recall getting in that water, and it was like a shock. It was just like a, how should you say, suddenly thrust into an icebox. We was going to hide among the rocks there until nightfall, and then shove off. But I got caught up with about 15 minutes before dark on every escape. When a man's missing, the Coast Guard comes out and goes around, and the prison boat circles. They both circle, looking all along the shoreline for anybody. I had originally planned to be underwater with the snorkel. I'd lost what I needed. I lost the snorkel to keep myself underwater. And for that reason, I think I failed on it.
If he had been able to hide until dark, he would have had a long, cold swim ahead of him.
I was more or less hoping to go to Point Richmond, which is about, I think, 8 miles or so. And I had a plastic bag to keep myself afloat. The only thing I was concerned, how long could you stand it in that water without being unconscious? I used Navy heavy underwear, and I guess that's why the man, they tell me, that's why the guy that was with me died. He drowned because of that heavy underwear. It's like concrete.
Alcatraz prison was never completely filled. Those who did end up here considered themselves the elite among convicts.
The prisoners on Alcatraz wasn't like the prisoners in Folsom, San Quentin, and places like that, you know. On the Rock, you know, you're up in the... I'm not trying to put a feather in my hat or nothing, but they had a lot of class.
You could say they were a higher caliber of criminal. They were more or less professionals, people who robbed mail trucks and banks and so forth. Some were in for murder, cut above average, the average criminal.
Robert Stroud, the Birdman, Al Capone, Nicky Cohen, Frankie Garbo, Machine Gun Kelly. You know, they're just another stupid fool like I was. And that's the way most of the other cons felt about, because everybody was the same on the Rock.
As we come around the island, look at the 3-story guards' barracks above the landing dock. You'll also see a metal-framed tower at the right corner of the dock.
The tower that you see is the dock tower. It was manned 24 hours a day. It had a large group of weapons, had a 30-06 rifle, 30 caliber rifle, tear gas gun, 38 revolver. Men were shot and killed from that tower.
On the walls of the guards' barracks, you can still see writing from the Indian occupation of 1969 to 1971. Look for the words Indian land and Indians welcome. A group of 89 Native Americans claimed the island, held out there for 2 years. Historian John Martini is here to explain what happened.
They claimed Alcatraz under an old treaty that said that male members of the Great Sioux Nation could homestead unused excess federal property. It was the first time in nearly a century when Indians of all tribes had gathered together for a common purpose.
In the end, the Indians were forced off the island. They were probably the only inhabitants of Alcatraz ever to leave unwillingly.